Part 1 in this series of videos exposed my landlord Bob Ors as a German masquerader murderer and why he was able to deceive me for 14 long years. Parts 2 and 3 videos provided proof of his sadistic, vile nature from my emails that document my dealings with him and how he has made attempts on my life. This Part 4 video provides additional details about my dealings with him from emails of complaints sent to him and his office or site managers. Hello friends, this is Unmasked Truth with Harmanjit Saini, where I provide unique analysis of world events based on the unmasked truth that after surrender, Germany continued World War II clandestinely and became a killing machine. I also provide true news that you will find nowhere else. In part 1 video, I explained how I came into contact with Bob Ors and his in-laws when I moved to Tampa, Florida from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, as we were all members of the same church and attended weekly church services together. I also explained how I became a tenant in one of the apartment complexes owned by Bob Ors. Then I explained why I did not want to expose him as a German masquerader and a murderer to avoid being troubled more by him in retaliation. But my sources urged me to expose him. Then I explained why I was deceived for nearly 21 years about his true sadistic, murderous nature. The reason is that he appeared to be a very devout Christian as a member of my church. When I experienced trouble as his tenant, I did not attribute it to him but to German masquerader national leadership who I thought were forcing my neighbors and others to trouble me and could not think Bob Ors as a Christian could do such things. In parts 2 and 3 videos, I chronologically described the experiences I've had as Bob Ors' tenant for 14 years with documented proof from the emails I sent to complain about the harassment. This part 4 video provides further proof of his wickedness for the mistreatment and abuse I suffered. I will also explain the diabolical cunning he employed to use others to trouble me without suspecting him of orchestrating all the troubling events. First, a note about some people living in the apartment complex not being allowed to own or drive cars. The reason is that these people have probably tampered with the cars of others to harass them. Our non-masquerader side has developed a solution to ending that problem by forcing the offender with threats to never own or drive a car. Again, I believe the office manager or the site manager Sandra Ashley is one such person. Pete Ralph P. Berry, now dead, another tenant, was second such person with whom I was to have more encounters. Then there are others I see in the apartment complex who may have been responsible for taking air out of my tires in the past. Now, my next emails include complaints against David Fike, the maintenance man, terrible harassment by neighbor in not allowing me to sleep, other forms of harassment orchestrated by office manager Sandra Ashley, and signals sent to me by Bob Ors about what he will do to me. Actually, the signal sent to me by Bob Ors I will have to leave for part 5 video. Now, Sandra Ashley interacts with some tenants who are probably related to her, and there are a lot of children associated with those apartments. Many of those children have been playing all sorts of games around my car, such as skating, zipping around on scooters, playing hide and seek around my car, or playing catch with a football. I've complained verbally to her many times. The problems would stop but would start again in another form. The purpose was to keep me under tension as much as possible, and because because of the possible damage to my car that the children's playing could do. Now there is about a 9 to 10 foot wall between the apartment complex and the strip mall next door. I have seen kids from the outside jump over the wall and hang around my car. I have complained to Sandra about this problem. That problem stopped only a couple of years ago, but I feel management was colluding with outside people to trouble me and keep me under tension with the threat of the teenagers damaging my car. Sometimes businesses in the strip mall play very loud music late at night, such as between 10 p.m. to 12 a.m. The problem with the loud music stopped only recently. Now, my email of March 21, 2019 describes one such problem. Sandra, just a few minutes ago, I saw an 8 to 12-year-old girls playing hide and seek. I was inside my bedroom. One of the girls came to the dish. Now, this is the dish from Direct TV. They charge an hourly rate for the maintenance person to fix any problem with the dish. Many residents had DirecTV service, so they were familiar with DirecTV's maintenance policies. And then these girls came to the dish and was about to touch it and then noticed me and went away. I'll have to pay at least $100 or maybe more out of pocket for a technician to come and fix it. I don't want to stop kids from playing around, but this particular girl came to the dish and was trying to hide. She was just looking at the dish, almost ready to touch it, when she noticed me and went away. Please ask them to refrain from touching anyone's property. Sandra replied, "Thank you for letting us know. I will take care of it." The problem was taken care of only for that time. But problem with kids playing dangerously, deliberately around my car, such as skating and riding scooters, did not stop. It still occurs occasionally, and the purpose is, just the fear of my car being damaged causes me tension, and they know it, and that's what they were trying to do. Next, I'll provide my email complaints concerning specific problems. First, my neighbor not letting me sleep in peace. Email of October 3rd, 2019. Sandra, Bob, for the last 1 week, neighbor in 5009 is not letting me sleep. I usually fall asleep in front of the TV after dinner. For the past 8 days, she has woken me up around 9 p.m. to 10 p.m. on every day except two. Just 45 minutes ago, I tried to get a nap. She woke me up again with a loud noise by banging on the wall. Then I have not been able to sleep for the past 45 minutes. Please do something about this. Then email of December 17, 2019. Bob, Sandra, a few days ago I had complained to Sandra, so this was another verbal complaint, that the neighbor in unit 5009 woke me up around 9:40 p.m. after I had gone to sleep around 7:40 p.m. Then I was able to go back to sleep only around 3 a.m. Last night she woke me up at 10:30 p.m., then around 11:40 p.m. and finally around 2 a.m. Something needs to be done about this. We had another incident a few years back with Elaine's daughter. When she continued to wake me up in the middle of the night, night after night, I had no choice but to bang on her door as loudly as I could for her to come out and talk to me. But you gave both of us a notice for disturbing the peace. Again, as I had noted in my part 3 video, I think Bob was lied to me that he had given her a notice. Continuing, by not taking any action against the neighbor, you're giving her free rein to continue to disturb my peace. Something needs to be done about this. I can wake her up in the middle of the night when I hear her snoring. I've never done any such thing to anyone for the past 10 years I've been living here. It's no fun being at each other's throats, seeing who can disturb the other's peace more and make their life miserable, and also make one's own life miserable. Please do something about this nuisance. Then my email the next day, December 18, 2019. Thank you very much for the intervention. I had a peaceful evening and night. It was all quiet and peaceful. But my next email was December 26, 2019, only 8 days later. Bob, Sandra, I spoke too soon. I sent you a message on December 18, 2019 that my neighbor let me spend my night in peace after my complaint, but now I have to complain again. Since that day, every night for 7 days, she has woken me up, some nights repeatedly. This night she woke me up after 2 hours of sleep. Now I won't be able to go to sleep probably till 3 a.m. I'll be probably groggy throughout the day tomorrow and will have to take a nap during the day. Bob, sometimes I have wondered what drives people to get a gun and shoot people dead. I'm not saying that's what I'm gonna do, but her behavior sure makes me feel that way. I'm in no way threatening, nor am I going to get a gun, but I feel enraged. I think you should do something about it. I have lived peacefully with all my neighbors, but they continue to disturb my peace without any provocation. I've tried calling the police before, but they say this is a private property and the matter should be handled by management. Please intervene and stop this madness. Next, my email of March 3, 2020 to Bob Sandra. Neighbor has been waking me up in the middle of the night again for the past 1 week. I think every night. Please prevail upon her to stop it. I am nearly 69 years old. Old body cannot take such punishment any longer. Next day I feel like a zombie, highly unproductive. Thanks. Next email dated April 18, 2020 to Bob Sandra. I was rudely woken up again last night at 9:14 p.m. with banging my neighbor. Tried to go back to sleep and wasted time till 10:45 p.m. Could not. So did some work while feeling like a zombie. Went to sleep around 1:45 a.m. and woke up with a bad headache the next morning. How long is this going to continue? Please prevail upon the woman to stop this nonsense and stop troubling a 69-year-old man. She herself is close to that age and should know better. Now she has her daughter with her, I assume till the lockdown. Bob then emailed me on April 20, 2020. Thank you, Herman. We will investigate this. I've been sleeping with earplugs for decades now. Therefore, disturbance has to be very loud for me to wake up. While the woman next door stopped disturbing me temporarily, there was disturbance from another source. This is my complaint in my email of April 20, 2020, which is just that very day that Bob had told me that they'll investigate. To Bob Sandra, this evening instead of falling asleep in front of the TV, I went to sleep at 9 p.m. in my bedroom. At 12:45 a.m., two guests of the man in apartment 5017 made such terrible noise by banging their car doors continuously that I woke up, despite sleeping with earplugs. They must have been banging for quite some time for me to have woken up. I heard the bangs a few times and they were very loud even with my earplugs in. The man in apartment 5017 has lady guests many nights and they are usually awake in the dead of night from 12 a.m. to 2 a.m. But they've never before made noise to wake me up. But this night they did to make sure that I would wake up. I came out of my apartment and walked next to his apartment and saw the woman and the man. His apartment door was open. After I was woken up, there was again dead silence and no disturbance that could have woken anyone up. Please intervene and stop this madness. The problem with the woman in 5009 never stopped. She would stop for a month or so and then start over again. She probably moved out in early 2022. Another man then rented the apartment. I had problems with his disturbing me with noise. He worked 5 days a week but spent the weekends usually away with his girlfriend. Therefore, the disturbance was usually in the early evening, but occasionally it was later in the night. My email of October 18, 2022 states, I want to bring to your attention that my neighbor next door to me made some noise yesterday. He had done it 2-3 times before, but I was able to overlook it as the disturbance has not yet reached the level as the previous residents had reached. Then my email of October 21, 2022 states, Bob, again I want to bring this to your attention. I fell asleep on my sofa just after dinner in the evening, October 20, 2022, and was watching the evening news. Neighbor in apartment 5009 made noise and woke me up at night at 8:35 p.m. I fell asleep again as I was tired, but he woke me up again around 9:40 p.m. with noise which sounded like hitting the wall between our apartments. It has happened 2 days in a row now. I hope something can be done about this. My latest email is dated November 9, 2023 to Stephen, who now manages the apartments. Stephen, I know the tenant, David Wiggum, in the adjoining apartment 5009 to mine, is leaving at the end of the month and will be replaced by someone else. But I wanted to bring to your attention that I have had a problem with each and every tenant in that apartment, most times very severe, about being woken up at night and disturbed during the day as well. I have sent an email in the past about being disturbed by David late at night while falling asleep on my sofa. He has continued to disturb me throughout his stay of 1.5 years, usually before 10 p.m. because he is still working, but occasionally in the middle of the night. At one time, I decided to note the time and the day he disturbed me. I have a notation on April 13, 2023 for 12 a.m. But then I decided to give up writing it down, though he has continued to do so. The reason was that I have complained about the problem from all the tenants in that apartment since I have been here for the past at least 10 years. Your dad, Bob, or the apartment manager or the site manager, has done nothing to solve the problem. I called the police once and they told me that such problems are handled by the landlord and they don't get involved. Then last night, November 8 at 12:20 a.m., David again woke me up with a sharp noise. It is difficult for me to go back to sleep once I wake up in the middle of the night, usually wasting 2 to 3 hours before I fall back to sleep. David is leaving. Based on the 14-year history of my living in the apartment, I am anticipating that I will continue to have the same problem with the new tenant, but I am hoping that it does not occur again. Thanks. Though I have not sent an email concerning this, but I can add another incident here. On November 11, 2023 evening around 8 p.m., neighbor probably came back to the apartment. November 17, 2023 evening around 8 p.m., neighbor probably came back to the apartment because he's removing his items slowly for vacating. Then that night I woke up at around 2:20 a.m. to go to the bathroom. So after he had made the noise around 8 p.m. So then that night I woke up around 2:20 a.m. to go to the bathroom. It took me perhaps after that half an hour to go back to sleep. But then at 3 a.m. I was woken up with a loud noise just outside my bedroom window, perhaps someone hitting the wooden fence with something. I could not go back to sleep, so I just got up and did some writing work for an hour and a half before going back to sleep. Thus, my emails show that one of the ways my landlord Bob Ors has made me suffer by not intervening to stop tenants from disturbing my sleep throughout the 14 years I've been a tenant. Knowing who he is now, no one can reach another conclusion than that he orchestrated the whole ordeal to make me suffer as much as he could. Now, my next emails are about maintenance and privacy complaints. My next email about complaints against the maintenance man David Fike is dated October 25, 2019. Bob, I have to lodge another complaint with you. I found what I did not like in my apartment when I came back from the feast, which is the church's annual festival, on Tuesday evening at 4 p.m. The temperature in my apartment was 89 degrees and the fan only was running full blast. The air conditioning was not working. The temperature then actually went up to 90 degrees. I also found my water bill was 21 degrees. I asked Sandra for an explanation about the water bill as I had been away for 11 days for the feast. She said this was the bill for September 1 to 30th. If that's so, then the bill is acceptable. If not, then the bill should have been lower. Then I complained about there being no air conditioning and the high temperature in the apartment. I told her that when I go away for some time, I have somehow come to expect that something will be wrong when I get back. She snickered slightly and made some small noise. Then she immediately called Dave, who came about an hour later and fixed the problem in about 45 minutes. He said he replaced a part on the AC unit outside. Then I, now this was actually after one day. So for one full day, I slept in a very hot room with only fan and no AC. Now, and then he sort of made a threatening gesture towards me. He has no reason to do so. In hindsight, he had a good reason to do so because I've been pronouncing the judgment of his on his kind, the German Masquerader, that they should be exterminated: man, woman, young unmarried woman, child, and infant. So that's why he was threatening me. My suspicion is that this was done deliberately. 90-degree temperature during most of the day for 11 days would have definitely spoiled my food. The fridge was on and working, but it's possible that the fridge could have been turned off for a few days and then turned back on. But the high temperature during the day could have possibly spoiled my canned food and cereals. I also noticed my open grits container had already bred tiny ants. If the food was damaged, the extent of the damage, if any, will be known only after I begin using it. My main concern is that the resident maintenance man is taking liberties with my apartment and making unauthorized entries. Please investigate and set my mind at rest. David Fike seemed to have delighted in causing toilet problems. Here is my email of January 23, 2020 to Sandra. For the past 3-4 days, the flush in the toilet has been acting up. Sometimes it flushes itself. Other times, after flushing, the tank does not fill up automatically, which has led to embarrassing situations. Please have David look at it. Thanks. There are some emails regarding routine maintenance issues such as replacing stove burners or wood planks on the patio or fence. By this time, David Fike was no longer working as the maintenance man, and Bob's son Stephen had started doing maintenance again. This makes me think that David Fike was brought as maintenance man specifically to trouble me as much as he could. He is Mike Fike's son and grandson of Jack Fike, the patriarch of the family. Now, one email of January 5, 2021 complains about no longer having hot water for 3 days and having to shower with ice cold water. So this is January. This is obviously in the winter. To Bob, Sandra, don't know if somebody messed with the water heater thermostat on Saturday or not, but I no longer have hot water. I tried to see if I could access the thermostat, but I was not successful. This is extremely uncomfortable, especially in winter months. Hope this can be fixed right away. Further email of August 17, 2020. Bob and Sandra, my bathroom sink faucet has started dripping at the rate of 1 drop per second, a high rate. Either a gasket or the whole faucet needs to be replaced. One of David Fike's previous repair jobs. Then January 9, 2022, Bob and Sandra had to have a cold water shower today. So this is exactly a year ago. I had the same problem in January when I had to have cold water shower for 3 days in a row. Then my email of October 18, 2022 complains about a very serious invasion of privacy and removing items from my apartment. Bob, I have to report a serious problem that occurred a month or so before the Feast of Tabernacles. Someone entered my apartment and removed some items. One was my notebook in which I write instructions on maintaining my religion website www.churchofgodmessage.com. The other item was my light jacket. I needed to update some information on my website. I spent 2 days searching for my notebook, literally every nook and cranny, and all my suitcases I use for travel. I was unable to find it. So I had to study the user manual again and made the changes to the website. Then, about 2 weeks later, I found the notebook on my sofa love seat in plain sight. Obviously, I could not have overlooked it when I searched for it, as it was in plain sight, and I had searched the sofa and love seat many times. Then one day I wanted to take along my light jacket for some appointment, as I feel cold in some offices due to air conditioning. I spent more than an hour searching for the jacket and could not find it. Instead, I took a sweater along. When I came back, I again searched for the jacket for a day, thinking I might have overlooked it someplace. I still could not find it. Then one day it mysteriously appeared hanging in the closet in plain sight. I simply could not have overlooked it when I searched for it, because I had checked the closet over and over again. So this was a lot of time wasted. Most disturbing is the fact that someone who has the keys to the apartment is entering it without permission and for no valid reason. The only reason could be mischief and could be worse, which I leave to one's imagination. That was one of the reasons why I did not want the exterminator to enter the apartment when I was away for the feast. Such incident may have happened before, when I spent an inordinate amount of time searching for items but then found them easily days and weeks later. That's why I make sure that I don't accuse lightly, but I'm making no mistakes when I describe the notebook and jacket incidents. I hope these kinds of incidents do not occur again. Now, I have to do a part 5 video to document further harassment by Bob Orrs to inflict pain and suffering on me, make multiple attempts on my life, signals sent to me about what he will do to me, and offer my opinion on what punishment he deserves. Thank you very much for watching this video. Please continue to watch my videos on important world events, World War III watch, politics, international business, how business prophecies fulfilling important role in world affairs, advice on health and medical problems, and much more for in-depth and insightful analysis. Please also subscribe to my YouTube and Facebook channels Unmasked Truth with Harmanjit Saini to view and get information on the latest videos.